Alright, so this video is going to be about solving equations with absolute value. So, we know that absolute value is the distance away from 0 on a number line. So when given the problems, the absolute value, and we have the absolute value bars, didn't draw it so well that time, of -5, the answer is 5, because -5 is 5 places away from 0 on a number line. But we also know that +5, the absolute value, is also 5 on that one. Just like we know if we do the absolute value of -25, the absolute value of -25 is indeed a +25 because it's 25 places away from 0 on the number line, as well as the absolute value of +25 is +25 because again we count distance in positives. Now our next part of this, of course, we're going to add variables to it. So if I give you the example, here's my example. 4a minus absolute value of 3b plus 2c if a equals -2, b equals -3, and c equals 2. So just like before, when we were evaluating equations, I am going to plug in these numeric values into the variable locations on top. So right now, I'm just going to simply rewrite things. So I have 4 times -2, because that's what 4a is, minus absolute value bar, 3 times -3, plus 2 times 2. So just like order of operations, I have to handle what's inside my grouping symbol. In this case, it's what's inside the absolute value. I will go ahead and multiply this 4 times 2, giving me a -8. Keep my minus sign. Keeps my absolute value bars for right now. Simplifying inside, -9 plus 4. My next step now, again, I still have to simplify inside that absolute value, which is -9 plus 4, which would be a -5. Now, here's where it gets tricky on a problem like this. Because I know, and remember this, that the absolute value of -5 is +5. So I'm going to rewrite that -8. I'm going to keep that minus sign, and the absolute value of -5 is +5. Now, my final answer is going to be -13. Alright, so this next part is solving equations. So just like we solved equations before, we're now solving equations with absolute value. Since we know that absolute value is the distance away from 0 on a number line, this 5 that this absolute value is equal to could be representing a +5 or a -5. Because of this, to solve, we have to set up two equations. So when doing problems that look like this, we're going to have n minus 3 is equal to a +5, and n minus 3 is equal to a -5. Because again, the absolute value, always being positive, could represent either one. Now we're back to a simple problem where we can just add 3 to both sides over here. We're left with an n. 5 plus 3 is 8. Same deal, add 3, n is left over here. -5 plus 3 is a -2. That would be our solution for this equation. Now remember how we talked that absolute value is always positive. So in a problem like this, where you see an absolute value, that's just the absolute value on the left side, the absolute value of 6y minus 7, is equal to -1, you can't do this. This won't work because absolute value is always positive. So in this case, you would write this as no solution, and you would be done. That's all there is to this problem. So anytime you see a problem like this, where it's just the absolute value on one side, they're setting it equal to a negative number, the answer is no solution. Okay, so now the problem just looks uglier, but the steps are still the same. So even though there's a fraction attached to that a, there could have been any coefficient attached to that a, our steps still are going to remain the same. We have an absolute value. It's set equal to a positive number, which is what we want. So we're going to set it into two equations. We're going to have 3/4 a minus 3 equals +9. And I'm going to change the color. And we're going to have 3/4 a minus 3 is equal to a negative 9. So now again, our steps are going to be the same. So in both of these problems, my first step in isolating the variable is going to be to add that 3 to both sides. And again, feel free to do that trick your middle school teacher taught you, which was the wall method there. All right. Again, over here, I'm still going to be adding 3 because I want to isolate that variable. All right. So here I have 3/4 a. My 3's have canceled. 9 plus 3 is 12. Here I have 3/4 a. 3's have canceled. Negative 9 plus 3 is negative 6. And I do like to do these problems at the same time. You can do them separately or do them at the same time. It's up to you. Then my next step, again, like we discussed before, you take your pick. We can do one of two things. Use your calculator. We can either divide both sides by 3/4, or we can multiply both sides by 4 over 3. When I do that, I now see I've got 12 times 4 over 1 times 3, which in this case then gives me the result of 16. Over here, again, same method, 4/3. If I'm going to multiply, put that over 1, 4/3. And I'm end result of negative 6 times 4 over 3, which gives me a negative 8.